Hey everybody, Hunter Fisher, Trapper, Trader, Guide, Scout, and Interpreter, and Country Cook Steve Hall here in Nashville, Tennessee with a great recipe today. Wisconsin 4-cheese beer soup. We're going to put it all in this little container right here, and well, what have we here? Nice bottle of dark beer. We're going to need that for the recipe. And what we're going to do is we're going to start out with a little bit of a roux. And the real roux is sitting behind that camera back there. Miss Sheila, how you doing, Sheila?
Doing great.
Would you help me today with this recipe? Because I'm going to need some help.
Okay.
All right. Now we'll get to your part in just a second. But what we're going to do is we're going to start out with a little bit of a roux. And roux is either oil or butter, 50-50 with flour, and you kind of gently do it on low heat, and it can turn to a blonde roux, which is kind of like Sheila's hair, a little browner, like almost like the color of peanut butter, or a real dark roux for a lot of Cajun recipes. I just crank this on high just because it takes us a while to fire up, but I'm going to turn it back down because I don't want this roux to burn. Now what we need is we're going to take a half a stick of butter, or this is a little over half because I go to half and then I go a little more and chop it off. We'll put that in there to begin with. And we're also going to put in some bacon grease because I wanted these strips of bacon to garnish my Wisconsin beer soup when I got done. So what I did, and let me take a moment to show this to you, is I fried up some bacon, good and crispy. Then I laid it on paper towels and I matted it with this other, then just let it cool. And look what happens here. Now we can just pick these little babies up. Man, they're already falling apart in my hands. Just break up so nice for our garnish. And the reason I fried them up, and I fried up 6 strips. I only got 4 here because I already had 2 in the pot, and I thought, I want to show them on there first. I fried up 6 strips of bacon, and then I saved the bacon grease. And I measured it for you, because for me it turned out, and some bacon puts out more grease than other, but this here turned out just not quite a quarter of a cup, about 2/3 of a quarter, if that makes any sense. But we're going to pour that bacon grease in there, and then we're going to need some flour to make our roux. And I got exactly a half a cup of flour, because with that 1/4 of a cup of bacon grease and about a 1/4 of a cup of butter, this is a 1/4 of a cup. You want to go 50-50. And we're going to get this melting in here first, and then we're going to take a whisk. We're going to slowly melt this in the bottom, and then we're going to add a little bit of flour at a time and keep mixing it under medium heat. As soon as this gets to where it's really starting to melt that butter, I'm going to turn the heat down. Now I know you shouldn't start out on high on a lot of pots like this, or even cast iron, because they say you can warp them, but you know, a little impatient me, I get fired up right away. I want to get going. So now this is melting in here, and our burner's doing good. And then we're going to start adding our flour. In fact, I think maybe I should have Sheila come over here and stir this for a little bit. Would you come over and stir this for me? I think our burner's getting plenty warm. Here you go. It's all yours. She's in charge. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great.
You're looking great. Oh, you got a piece of lint on you. I can't stand if you got a little lint on you because you want to look perfect. Okay.
Here you go.
All right. All right. We're melting. We're going to give you a close-up shot of this pot in just a second. But she's melting that in there real good. Just keep stirring it. Our butter's just about mixed up. Now our 4 cheeses that we're going to need is I bought a package of finely shredded, because I want it to dissolve in the soup, mild cheddar. Now you can use a sharp cheddar if you want, but I like a milder flavor for that. And then I got a 6-ounce package of provolone sliced, and I cut that in half, and we'll show that to you. And I got some pepper jack cheese sliced. I cut that in half so I can put in little slips at a time. And then I also got some Parmesan cheese, which is kind of the hardest to dissolve, but as long as you got a good stirrer person here.
I know I can do this much.
Yeah, you're doing great, babe. This girl can really fire up a microwave. But anyway, I'm going to get in trouble here if I... All right, let me add a little bit of flour in there. And you just keep stirring that roux, mixing it in. That's going to be kind of the thickener for our soup. And she's doing good here with this. And you're going to need 4 cups of half and half. Now, some people use milk, some people use cream, some people use half and half. I just kind of split the difference with half and put in 4 cups, and then also 3 cups of chicken broth. And we're also going to put in a chicken base, about a tablespoon. I'll show you that in a second. You're doing good with your roux here. She looked at me like she needed more flour. Was that what that look was? Like, get it in here? Give you a little more
I can cook. I just hadn't told you about it yet.
Yeah. Okay. That works for me.
Let you do all the cooking.
That's funny. I love to cook, so she does let me do it. I do all the cooking at the house, it just seems like. But every now and then she'll surprise me with bacon and eggs and toast. And believe it or not, in bed. Bring them right in with a little tray. Let me sit up in bed and have breakfast in bed. I think she just wants new shoes or something. She came to me one day and she says, "What do you think of these new shoes?" I said, "Honey, you've got a closet full of shoes. Why do you need another pair?" She said, "I was downstairs and I noticed that you got about 20 fishing rods. I think maybe you should sell some of them." I said, "I love those shoes. They're beautiful. They're just fantastic, aren't they, honey?"
Oh, they're fantastic.
All right, we'll pour the rest of it in there because we only had a half a cup. You're looking good with your roux. We need to get a close-up shot of this. I didn't want to get a real close-up shot right away until you got done doing your gyrate and stirring there. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll take over the stirring so you can bring the camera up and get a close-up shot, and then I'm going to move you back on the stirring again. All right? We're going to get this going, and it's really starting to bubble, so I'm going to turn it down to about medium because I don't want this roux to burn. But you really want to dissolve this flour good. Are we still rolling? Good, because I want to say something. This is a big part of this soup for me. It's what I'm not going to put in here. I'm not going to put in onions. I'm not going to put in green peppers. And I'm not going to put in celery. Now, a lot of beer cheese soups, they do that. But the real fancy restaurants up in Wisconsin, and I've ate at a lot of them up there, and they got delicious beer cheese soup, and they don't have any vegetables in them at all. It's just a real smooth, thick cheese, wonderful beer. You dip some bread in it, you're going to like it. So we are not putting in those things. Now, you can put that in if you want. I'd say put about a 1/4 cup of each, and right now would be the time you would do that. Put it in your roux and saute it until the onions are soft, until your green peppers are soft, until your celery is soft, but I am not putting it in this recipe. All right, Sheila, now you can turn the camera off and bring it up close because we're ready for our next ingredient here. Let me tell you what's been going on since we had the camera off. We stirred it for a good 5 to 10 minutes. It looked really nice, but it looked a little thin, so we added about 2 tablespoons of flour, maybe 1.5. But you want to get this nice texture that's just really nice and smooth. Now you can make your roux so it's thicker and thicker. Some people actually do that. They stir it to where it's just almost in chunks. And I don't like to do that. I like to leave it nice and smooth, almost to a pudding consistency. And it's got that nice blonde color to it now. Speaking of blonde, Sheila, it's your turn to stir now because we're going to get back after the rest of this here. And see, when I let go, it all just kind of slowly comes to the middle, and it's got plenty of little bubbles. And I brought the heat back up just a hair because we're getting ready to pour in milk, or half and half actually, and our chicken broth. And we want to do that a little at a time because we want to keep the heat going. We don't want to firm up any of that flour. We want that dissolved really good. Now here's the scoop. You don't want to boil this mixture ever. Simmer's fine, but don't boil it in any time during the recipe. Now you might see a few little black specks in there, and that's from that bacon grease. That's just flavor floating around. All right, Sheila? I think our roux is looking good. And while you're stirring that, I'm going to pour in our 4 cups of half and half, but I'm only going to pour it in about a cup at a time. There you go. Oh man, that's looking good. All right, we're going to whisk that and keep going until we bring it back up to a simmer, and we want to get all that flour out of that recipe. We want to cook it away until it all dissolves. In fact, while she stirs that for about another 5 to 10 minutes, we'll turn the camera off so you don't have to watch constant stirring, and we'll be right back with you. Sheila has done a wonderful job with this, but look how thick that's getting. We got most of the flour just completely dissolved. Now you can actually run your soup through a strainer when you're all done to make sure there's no lumps in there, but that doesn't seem to bother me too much. Now this pitcher pours a lot better. We're going to add a little bit of this. Now I will mention that our half and half was at room temperature, and our chicken broth is at room temperature. And I'm just going to pour that in a little at a time so that we don't chase the heat back down. Want to keep it pretty good here. Now this might be as good as time as any. Let me take over the stirring here for just a second. I need that little cup, measuring cup with the seasoning in it. Because in this, and I'll put you back to work again, here you go. In here is a teaspoon of paprika and a teaspoon of dry mustard. Now you can use regular mustard or Grey Poupon or all kinds of stuff, but just a dry mustard and also our paprika. We'll stir that in there. Let me go ahead and put the rest of this in. As we add these cheeses, this is really going to get creamy and thick, and we may have to add more half and half, or we may have to add more chicken broth to thin it down, but we'll find out. I'm going to put you back in charge of that.
Have that.
Yeah, because it's not open, right? That's all right. And we're going to put in 1 teaspoon, just a teaspoon like this is close enough, of this chicken base. Now if you'll hand me that lid right there, I'm going to show them exactly what I bought. It's broth base and seasoning. I got that at the store, and it's just a powder, but it really kicks up the chicken broth. Instead of having a chicken stock, you can just use chicken broth and put a little of that base in, and it really gets good. That is looking so terrific. Now I'm going to show you.
It's really smooth.
It is smooth, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to show you, if I can reach through here, Sheila, you just keep a stir in there. And here is our cheeses. I got some sharp cheddar, and I got the pepper jack and provolone, and if you'll hand me that right now, the other one. That's a secret. I'm going to show them that in a second. And of course our Parmesan cheese.
Oh, we got a secret here, huh?
Yeah, we do have a secret, so I'm going to start putting this in here for you so we can get dissolving this. And I'm going to kick that heat up just a notch more so we don't cool it off as we're going, but we don't want to boil it. That's the main thing. And we don't want to burn anything on the bottom. So I try to run this heat on a lot of this stuff a little quicker because we're videoing and nobody wants to watch you stir for 15 minutes, but that's what you really should do. There's all of our mild cheddar cheese. And in fact, I don't want this to be ruined, so I'm going to turn this back down to kind of like a high medium. Then all I did is bought a package of cheese, and I cut it in half so it'd be easier to handle, and I'm going to just start dropping that pepper jack cheese in there. And this is a 6-ounce package. I'm going to put it all in. Drop it in there one sheet at a time. See, this is a 2-person job. You got to have your Sheila automatic stirrer. There's our pepper jack. That's in there. I'll give you a second to incorporate that. Now the beer we're going to use is a dark beer, and it's just a Michelob. I'll show it to you in a second. That's the only thing, is when I got Sheila stirring here, half my ingredients are on the other side of the table and I can't get to them, but I got to have her hand it over. Does that feel like that's pretty dissolved?
I can multitask.
That's good. Let's go with some provolone now. The same little 6-ounce package, just cut in half. You know, normally they come in a little, I just chopped them in half there. So I can flop me in one little sheet at a time, which makes it easier to dissolve. And this is our Wisconsin 4-cheese beer soup. Now there's not enough beer in there to make anybody In fact, a lot of the alcohol cooks away as you're cooking it, so you don't have to worry about serving it to your kids. But this stuff is absolutely delicious. And we got a couple little secrets we're going to show you when we get done. How's it coming along there? Getting pretty thick?
Yeah, it's getting thicker and thicker.
Thicker and thicker? I'll tell you what we're going to do. Let me stop right there. Keep stirring. And I'm going to reach around behind you, and I'm going to add our beer to thin this out. And again, this is a dark beer. They got some great dark beers up in Wisconsin. There we go. We'll put in a couple, 3 handfuls of that Parmesan cheese in there. I think we might have something here. So 4 cups of half and half, 4 cups of chicken broth. One more little ingredient here. In this bowl is a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of pepper. And I'll put those on the bottom of the screen. I'll let Sheila mix that in there. And in addition to that, take your favorite hot sauce. Now, don't let this scare you off. I'm not putting hot sauce in here necessarily for heat as much as it is for flavor. It just wakes up soups if you're cautious with it. So don't do too much. So we'll just put in a little bit of, let me put in, that's plenty. Just a couple little drops there. And we're just about ready to mix this in. Now, I just use pepper out of the pepper shaker, but you can use fresh ground pepper, you know, you can use sea salt, you can do whatever you want. But that really looks good. If you'll hand me that little teaspoon over there, I'm going to take a test and see how you've done, Sheila. Oh my Lord. No. It's not good, it's absolutely delicious.
Fabulous.
It's fantastic.
Fabulous.
It's fabulous. Let me hide my little secret over here for a second.
That shotgun red says fabulous.
It's fab-tabulous. You've got it steaming good, bringing it to a simmer. I think it's time to bowl some of this up here. What do you say?
I say good.
All right. If you'll move that red bowl to the center, the bigger one over on the corner there, honey.
Okay.
Yeah, right there. Perfect. And I'm going to ladle some of this up here. Oh man. And again, the thickness and thinness of this can be added in moisture. A little more flour if you want to make it thicker, etc., etc. But this looks really, really good. Let me do a little housekeeping here. Got a little bit of that cream. I don't like that 4-cup creamer that I bought. Measuring cup. We're going to put a little bit of garnish on here. A little bit of shredded cheese that we put in there in the middle. Not too much. And then I had my little jar sitting around here. I think it disappeared. Of chives. Did you get taken away? Did you gather up my little jar of chives? Yes, you did. She was cleaning off the counter so that we could bowl this up. And you know how stuff disappears when your better half gets her fingers on it. So she run off with my little chives before I could chive it. And then, remember them bacon bits that we fried up? Don't use bacon bits, use real bacon. And there you have it. And what we can also add is just a couple little pieces of bread. And this is outstanding. Now here's the big secret. This is for you, Sheila.
Okay.
I went and bought bread that they use for making bread bowls. You chop the top part off like that. And then you hollow the inside out and you put all the little bits of bread around. Now we're going to dish this up here. Oh man. Now the longer you simmer this, the thicker it gets. Is this looking good or what?
It's looking great. You see now why I never told you I could cook.
Well, we do good together.
Yeah.
All right, now let's get back to our A little bit of shredded cheese on top. Just a dash of our chives in there. Not too much.
Don't forget the bacon bits.
And a little bit of and Sheila's bacon bits here. There we go, more or less, or that looks pretty right there.
Yeah, that's pretty.
There we go. Let me swing this around because this is for you and this is for me. Now, if I want to add a little more hot sauce to mine, I can. But we need to get a wide shot. And well, yes, you can also,
You can have that one.
no. You can also take this bread and break it off and use it for a little dunking in there as well. So serve that up on the side of your we don't have a big enough plate here, but.
Yeah, I was going to share with you.
Oh, okay. You're sweet.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's take a wide shot so we can go. I'll let you rearrange the camera so we can close the show. I got to tell you, while I was bowling this up and she was setting the camera, I forgot to turn the burner off. It wasn't on high heat, so I didn't have to worry about that, and it got thicker yet. So this is a real magic balance to have the soup exactly what you want. But if you want terrific Wisconsin 4-cheese beer soup, this is kind of a basic you can work with. You can add hot sauce, take hot sauce out. You can do a lot of goodies. You got a spoon over there? Because I don't have one.
Well, here is yours.
Oh yeah, I have the bigger spoon. She's got the littler spoon. We're going to sample this here, just a hair. Oh, wow. You haven't tasted it yet, have you?
It is good.
Yeah. And I noticed a little bit of cheese came up on your spoon, so it wasn't completely done yet. So make sure you simmer it for a good 10 or 15 minutes. Make sure all your cheese is dissolved. Put it in there, garnish it. Get your better half a little bread bowl like that. Isn't that wonderful? If you like our recipes, there's our subscribe button right there. Show them where the subscribe button is, Sheila. Right there, exactly. Click on that, and next time we do a recipe, you'll be one of the first to know about it. But give this a try. And is it the best let me rephrase that. Is it the best Wisconsin 4-cheese beer soup you ever ate? If it ain't, it ought to be. This is Steve and Sheila. We'll see you next time right here on Cooking with Shotgun Red. We got to go because this stuff is to die for. Bye-bye.